என்ன பார்த்தா முட்டா குமார்த்திதா.
Hey everyone, welcome back to ChaatNChat. My name is Josh.
My name is Miguel.
And we are watching MAAVEERAN. This is part 3. So if you missed part 1 or part 2, then you can go check both of those out by clicking the link in the description below this video. And then you can be all caught up and join us back here. And if you haven't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, the bell icon, and upvote it by slapping the like button.
அமைச்சர் மேல செருப்பு எறிஞ்சிருக்கீங்க. அமைச்சர் கார் மேல ஜன்னல் தள்ளி விட்டுருக்கீங்க.
Yes.
அப்ப இதெல்லாம் செஞ்சது யாரு?
நான் சொன்னேன்ல என் புள்ள மீடியா முன்னாடி எல்லா பிரச்சனையும் போட்டு உடைப்பான்னு.
Yeah. No, he's not. He's gonna disappoint you. He's gonna. Here it comes.
என் காதுல ஒருத்தன் கதை சொல்லினேங்கறான் சார்.
Yes, gonna make him out to be a kook and then yeah.
யார் இந்த கதை உங்களுக்கு சொல்றாங்க?
அதான் சார் தெரியல. நானும் பல தடவை கேட்டு பார்த்தேன். வீரன் தட்டி கேட்டான் அப்படின்னு அவன் கதையை மட்டும் சொல்லினேங்கறான்.
யார் இந்த வீரன்?
நான் தான்.
அப்ப யமன் யாரு?
Yeah.
அமைச்சர் ஜெயக்கொடி.
அதாவது ஹீரோ வில்லன் மாதிரி.
ஆமா சார்.
If he can prove to the general public that he's kind of crazy, they can lock him away, right?
Yeah.
That's the plan?
ஒரு நாள் என் தங்கச்சி கையில் ஒருத்தன் தப்பா நடந்துக்கினான் சார். எங்கள் அம்மாவையும் அடிச்சிட்டான். எனக்காக செம்ம கோவம். ஆனால் எங்கள் அம்மா இல்லை, இதையும் உட்காந்து வரையும் தானடா போகிறேன்னுச்சு. ஆனால் எங்கள் அம்மா இல்லை, இந்த தொடநடிகை இப்போ வாழ்கிறதுக்கு நாண்டுக்கிட்டு சாவலான்னு சொல்லிடுச்சு. எங்கள் அம்மா அப்பெல்லாம் பேசவே பேசாது சார். எனக்கு ஒரு மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு. நம்ம இல்லைன்னா இதுங்க என்ன ஆகுன்னு தோணுச்சு. திரும்பி இறங்கிடலான்னு முடிவு பண்ணி திரும்பினேன்னா அப்போ அங்கே ஒரு கல் பேத்துன்னு ஆஸ்பத்திரியில் சாவ கிடந்தேன் சார். இந்த கதை தான் வந்து என்னை எழுப்புச்சு. அப்போலேருந்து இது கேட்டுனே இருக்கு சார்.
ஓ, சாவுல இருந்தே இந்த கதை உங்களை காப்பாத்திருக்கு.
ஆமா சார்.
Many times it saved him from death, but he still doesn't respect it.
அப்போ அந்த பில்டிங்ல எந்த பிரச்சனையும் இல்ல இல்லையா?
வீரன் பொய் சொல்ல தயங்கினான்.
இல்லை சார்.
Dang.
சத்யா சொல்வதெல்லாம் நமக்கு வேடிக்கையாக இருந்தாலும் அவர் மனப்பிரவர்த்தி.
Yeah, he's.
பார்த்தவே சந்தேகப்பட்டேன்.
ஓ பேச்ச கேட்டு அவனை நம்பினமே.
Yeah.
என்னங்க இது? எங்க பிளாக்ல கரண்ட் இல்ல, தண்ணி வர மாட்டேங்குது. நாளைக்கு பரீட்சை இருக்கு, பிள்ளைங்க எப்படி படிப்பாங்க?
அமைச்சர் மேல கை வச்சா என்ன ஆரத்தி எடுப்பாங்க.
கை வச்சுட்டு எங்களை பழி வேணா, என்ன நியாயம்?
அதெல்லாம் கூட்டமா வீட்டுக்கு போய் மனு கொடுக்கும் போதே யோசிச்சிருக்கணும். அவன் இங்க இருக்கிற வரைக்கும் இப்படிதான் நடக்கும்.
இப்போ அவர் கோவம் குறைஞ்சிச்சா சார்?
எப்படி குறையும்? ஒரு மினிஸ்டர் அத்தனை பேர் முன்னாடி
This is
அசிங்கப்படுத்தி
upsetting my stomach.
எப்படி குறையும்?
Well, he's not going to have a home for much longer. They're going to kick him out.
Yeah. Well, and again, he's only thinking of himself. He's not thinking about anybody else.
வெளிய வாமா. வாமா வெளிய. அன்னிக்கே சொன்ன
Yeah. See,
தேவல பண்ணாதீங்க.
his family is
எல்லாரையும்
going to
உம்பிட்டு
be.
விட்டுட்டு
Yeah.
டிவில போட்டு மினிஸ்டர் வஸ்தி பேசிருக்கான், பைத்தியக்கார பையன்.
Yeah. He's an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they already know that they can't kill him. He knows what's going to
அடிபட்ட
happen before it
மிருகம் போல்
happens.
பழிவாங்க காத்திருந்தான் யமன்.
They used him, and now they're going to throw him away. They just needed his story
Yeah, and
live
see,
on TV.
he isn't even listening to what's being told to him. You know, it's like, dude, I keep telling you what to do, and you're just being a fool.
ஒரு 10 நிமிஷம் அவன் என்ன கதை சொன்னாலும் கேட்க கூடாது.
Oh yeah, right. And that's going to get you hurt.
He can't not listen. We've already went over this.
Yeah, so you're going to have to fight for your life, dude. Yeah, I'm scared. Yeah, well, that's your problem.
இல்ல.
சார் ப்ளீஸ் சார்.
And the warrior realizes that he got screwed. Yeah.
ஒரு அடி பின்னெடுத்து வைத்தான்.
Oh. Fool.
எங்கடா வந்து ஒரு திமிரு? யமனின் கையை தட்டி விட்டு ஓங்கி மிதித்தான். சொல்றா.
Dude, if you want to survive, he just said he wanted to survive. So why is he not listening
Yeah, I
to
do not
the
understand
voice?
that. I do not understand
It's pretty
this.
frustrating that he's going against it. Because he would have died so many times by now if it wasn't for the voice.
சார் கோவம் குறைஞ்சிச்சா சார்? கோவம் குறையலடா.
He'll calm down after he kills you. Let him just kill you. Let him kill you.
என்ன எவ்வளோ வேணா அடிச்சுக்கங்க சார். ஆனால் கொல்ல மட்டும் செஞ்சிடாதீங்க சார்.
Right, dude.
தன் உயிரை காக்க மக்கள் உயிரையே பணயம் வைத்தான்.
Yeah.
வீரன் மீண்டும்
A
கோழையானான்.
coward again. Exactly. Yep. You're gonna die, dude, and you're so afraid of dying that you're not willing to help yourself.
It left him. I think he doesn't have the voice anymore. Oh, he got what he wanted.
Yep.
He didn't die. He got the voice taken out of his head.
டேய் சத்யா
மா
Are you proud of me?
கால்
No.
கேட்கறது நின்றுச்சு.
Jesus. I'm
நான் சாக மாட்டேம்மா.
I do not understand this
இனிமே
dynamic at
எந்த
all. And
பிரச்சனையும் வராது.
it's revolting.
நம்ம இந்த வீட்லயே அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணி இருந்துடலாமா?
Yeah, right. You're gonna stay in this house. Yeah, you're not gonna have.
No,
a-
they're kicked out.
You're
Like,
kicked
you
out,
can't
dude.
live
You
there.
do not understand. It is. There's this innocent factor or this naive factor that just I do not get.
ஏம்மா இங்க இருக்கிற?
நீ வா
Come
நீ
on.
சுடுதண்ணி எடுத்து
Yeah,
வாடி
because you didn't do anything.
Oh, well, it is what he did. He went on
Yeah.
TV and lied.
Yeah,
And still got
well,
his
yeah.
butt kicked.
நம்ம வீடு என்னமாச்சு?
நீ அங்க இருந்தா அவனுங்களால வாழ முடியாதான். அந்த வீட்டு பக்கம் போனா உன்னை அச்சே சாவடிச்சிருவானுங்களாம்.
இனிமே நீ யாரும் வம்புக்கும் போக வேண்டாம். அம்மா அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணி இருந்துக்கிறேன்.
Yep. You broke her.
யாரும் வம்புக்கும்
You
போக
broke her to just adjust her. Yeah. So.
Well, also, I mean, I do like her story arc because she is accepting her son. Because look, you can't force somebody if he is not a fighter and if he's a coward and that's
Yeah,
how he is, it's
yeah.
up to him to change himself.
Yeah.
But your people around you are not going to be able to force you to change,
Yeah.
you know? So, what is going to get him to change is when he starts seeing the price people are paying around him. I think.
Maybe.
I think. But his mom is learning the acceptance, which I think is healthy for her.
நமது அண்ணன் ஜெயக்கொடி.
It's not the same voice, dude.
The spirit is broken, I think. Oh, and how poetic is that? That now he has to paint these
Yeah,
pictures
yeah.
of the guy that did this to him.
தினம் சிமெண்ட் பெயிண்ட்னு ஏதாவது பேந்து விழுந்துங்கன்னே இருக்குப்பா. குழந்தைய வச்சுக்கின்னு பயத்துல வாழ்றதுக்கு இந்த தகரத்திலே வாழ்ந்தல சத்யா. இதையும் விட்டா நடுத்தரவுல நிக்கணுமேனு பயந்து தான் இன்னும் அங்க சனங்க வாழ்ந்துன்னு இருக்கு.
Yeah, I would just be worried that whole thing is going to come down. I've been saying it since the beginning. If that building survives to the end of this movie, I'm going to be very impressed.
You don't look very good to your girlfriend.
Lady
there.
friend.
Yeah.
எல்லாம் சரியாயிடும்னு நினச்சின்னு இருந்தேன். என்னால தான் இந்த மக்கள்லாம் இப்போ அட்ஜஸ்ட் பண்ணி வாழ்ந்துன்னுக்குறாங்க.
Yep.
நான் சாதாரண ஆள்.
ஆனா யாருக்கும் கேட்காத குரல் இந்த சாதாரண ஆளுக்கு தானே கேட்டுச்சு. அது ஏன் யோசிச்சியா?
Yeah, he didn't seem like an ordinary man.
ஆனா உனக்கு மட்டும் தான் மக்கள் பிரச்சனையை மாவீரன் தட்டி கேட்கற மாதிரி வரையணும்னு தோணுச்சு. உன்னை அறியாமலே உன் உள் மனசுல எல்லாம் தட்டி கேட்கணும் மாத்தணும்னு ஒரு கோவம் இருக்கு. அந்த கோவம் தான் உனக்கு கேட்கற கதை. அதை சொல்ற குரல் தான் உன் பவர். உன்னை வச்சு இந்த மக்களுக்காக ஏதோ நல்லது பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறான். இவ்வளோ நாளா நான் வேணான்னு சொன்னேன். இப்ப நானே சொல்றேன். அவன் சொல்ற மாதிரி செஞ்சுதான் பாரேன்.
He's gone. The
Yeah.
voice is gone.
Yeah.
You
But
wasted
the other
it.
thing is also that
அவன் தான்
again,
கதை சொல்றதை நிறுத்திட்டானே. அடுத்து என்ன நடக்க போகுதுன்னு எனக்கு எப்படி தெரியும்?
sacrifice of
Yeah.
oneself,
நீயும் கதை
even your
எழுதுறவன்
life
தானே?
for others,
கண்டுபிடி.
is like the highest of honor and glory for most people.
தம்மை பெருந்துயரிலிருந்து மீட்க வந்த வீரனை கண்டு மக்கள் மகிழ்ந்தனர். தன் உயிரை காக்க மக்கள் உயிரையே பணயம் வை.
Yep.
யமனின் சூழ்ச்சியை வெளிச்சம் போட்டு காட்ட முடிவு செய்தான் வீரன். காதலியை ரசித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கும் வீரனுக்கு தெரியவில்லை மக்கள் தீர்ப்பை கொடுக்கும் முன் மாளிகையே இருக்காதென்று.
Oh, before the election.
எலெக்ஷனுக்கு முன்னாடி இந்த பில்டிங்கே இருக்காதுன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கானா? இந்த பில்டிங் ஏதோ பெரிய பிரச்சனை இருக்குதுண்ணா.
நீ இவ்வளவு பண்ண பிறகு உன் பேச்சு எவன்டா நம்புவான்?
அப்ப நான் என்ன பண்ண நம்புவானுங்க?
என்ன கேட்டா?
சத்யா, இந்த பில்டிங் திறக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு இன்ஸ்பெக்ஷன் பண்ணிருப்பாங்க. பில்டிங்ல ஏதாச்சும் பிரச்சனைனா கண்டிப்பா அது அந்த டாக்குமெண்ட்ல இருக்கும்.
Yeah, right. They didn't inspect that building. You're crazy.
I started.
இந்த வாட்டி விட மாட்டானுங்க. குத்தி தூக்கி போட்டுருவானுங்க. உன்னை பைத்தியம் சொன்னவனுங்க தானே? ஏக்காடு கண்ணா போட்டேன்னு விட்டு போய் வேலையை பாடுறா.
அப்பெல்லாம் விட்டு போக முடியாதுண்ணா.
நீ திருந்த மாட்டடா.
டேய், யாருன்னு போய் பாருங்கடா. நீ மினிஸ்டருக்கு ஃபோன் பண்ணுங்க.
ஏய் என்னடா? இல்லடா யாரோ ஓரம் மறிஞ்சினா.
தோர்காண்டா.
There's plenty of poles around.
வசமா மாட்டீங்கடா.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the voice.
The voice is going to come back.
Maybe if he gets smacked in the head hard enough.
என்னது? கழுத்து திருப்பி போட்டுருவா.
Like break his neck? Let's go.
யார? பொருள் வச்சிருக்கவனியா?
That's a pretty smart tactic, using his reputation, right? That's
இப்போ என்ன சொல்றாரு தம்பி?
இன்ஜினியரே கதவை திறந்து விடுவான்னு சொல்றாரு.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was
good.
mind.
That was
like-
mind power. Yeah. Nothing.
Nothing. Exactly.
பில்டிங்ல இவ்வளவு பிரச்சனை இருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்சுதான் எங்களை குடி வச்சியா நீ?
ஆமாடா பில்டிங்னா கிராக் உள்ளதான் செய்யும். மோசமா இருக்குன்னு ரிப்போர்ட் கொடுத்த பில்டிங்லாம் இடிஞ்சா போச்சு. அங்கெல்லாம் மனுஷன் வாழல.
பில்டிங் இடிய போகுதா?
டேய் உன்னை அன்னைக்கே அந்த ஃபைல்ல எரிச்சு போட சொல்லலடா.
சார் அது வெறும் ஃபோல்டர் சார். உள்ள ஒண்ணுமே கிடையாது.
டேய் ஒண்ணுமே இல்லாம தான் அவ்வளவு நேரம் மிரட்டிட்டு இருந்தியா?
He didn't even know there wasn't anything in the report. That's how little he cared.
நான் சொன்னா நம்ப மாட்டாங்க. ஆனா நீ சொன்னா நம்புவாங்கல்ல. அவன் சொல்ற மாதிரி உன்னை அடிச்சு இழுத்துன்னு போவா இல்ல நீயா வரியா?
டேய் இவன் அடிச்சு தூக்கி போங்கடா.
No, your goons are too scared. You're not paying them enough.
என்ன குரல் கேட்கலையா?
அவன் சொல்ற மாதிரி நிஜமாவே கட்டடம் இடிஞ்சிட்டா?
டேய் அவனே கதை சொல்றத நிறுத்திட்டான். அதெல்லாம் இடியாது.
இடிஞ்சிடுச்சுன்னா
எலெக்ஷனுக்கு இன்னும் ஒரு நாள் தான் இருக்கு. பில்டிங் மோசமா கட்டணும்னு ஒத்துக்கிட்டு அவங்கள வெளியே அனுப்புனா
It did say that the building wouldn't exist by then.
மக்கள் இருக்கும்போது பில்டிங் இடிஞ்சிடுச்சுன்னா இந்த எலெக்ஷன் மட்டும் இல்ல இனி எந்த எலெக்ஷன்லயும் ஜெயிக்க முடியாது. அரசியல்லாம் மறந்துட்டு போயிட வேண்டியதா சார். மொத்த பில்டிங்கும் இந்த 4 மணி நேரத்துல காலியா இருக்கணும். சரி சார்.
டேய் நான் தான் வேண்டான்னு சொல்றேன்ல. எலெக்ஷன் முடிட்டு பாத்துக்கலாம்டா.
சார் உங்களுக்கு புரியல. இது சீரியஸான விஷயம். நான் பாத்துக்கிறேன்.
This is a power struggle now because who's in charge?
டேய் போய் அந்த மக்களை உடனே வெளியேற்ற பாருங்க. அறிவில சொல்லிலே இருக்க.
He said that before. Can't you listen to me?
But now he's in front of all of his men and only one guy knew.
இங்க யாரா மினிஸ்டர்?
பைத்தியக்காரன். எப்படி இந்த இடத்துக்கு வந்தோன்னு மறந்துருச்சா? இந்த பிரச்சனை என்னைக்கோ முடிஞ்சிருக்க வேண்டியது. அறிவு கட்டத்தனமா சொல்ல கேட்காம இவ்வளவு தூரம் இழுத்து விட்டுட்டு.
Dude, don't mess with crazy. You're gonna get burnt.
டேய்
He's not
இனிமே
gonna
நான் சொல்றத மட்டும்
survive
கேளுங்க.
this.
உடனே போய் அந்த
You gotta expect that, man. You're dealing with someone that is completely nuts.
இங்க நல்ல அங்க நல்ல சிரிக்காத கைகொடு கும்பிடு. இத பாத்துக்கறேன் அத பாத்துக்கறேன் அரசியல்வாதியாரு இத செய்யாத அத செய்யாத வச்சு செஞ்சுட்டான் என்னைய. இப்போ உனக்கும் குரல் கேட்கல எனக்கும் குரல் கேட்கல. சேம் பிஞ்ச்.
Oh man. Yeah, those guys would be totally scared of this dude now. Like, listen to anything he says.
டேய் இவனை தூக்கி கடல்ல போடு.
அப்ப அவனா
இவனே தான்.
என்ன வேணா பண்ணிக்கோ. ஆனா உண்மையை சொல்லி எங்க மக்களையாவது காப்பாத்தியா?
நான் என்ன மயிர்கிட்ட அவங்களை காப்பாத்தணும்? என்ன அடிக்கும்போது சந்தோஷமா வேடிக்கை பார்த்தனுங்க தானே? சாவட்டும்.
Well, because you're a freaking monster.
யோ நீ உண்மையிலே இந்த மக்களுக்கு நல்லது பண்ணணும்னு நினைச்சினா திரும்பி வா. கதையை முடிச்சு வை.
அந்த கதையெல்லாம் எப்போ முடிஞ்சிருச்சு. இனி ஒருத்தனும் வரப்போறதில்ல உங்களை காப்பாத்த.
கதை என்ன முடியலடா.
What?
மிஸ் ஆயிட்டேன்.
That's how he got it in the first place, is he kind of died, right? And then came back?
Yes. He's thinking that somehow or another it was going to come back. And was a fool.
வீரமே ஜெயம். கடலுக்கடியில் புழுதியை கிளப்பிக் கொண்டு வந்தது அந்த நங்கூரம்.
Oh, that was quite fortunate.
He would have already drowned.
Oh,
Well, who's not talking? I'm just.
come on.
We'll go with the flow.
All right, let's go. That's what he's saying. He's like, I see you down there. That's so cool because we know what's going on in his head. So the narration right there is like, and he didn't have to worry about it because just in that moment, The line caught his leg.
Got him on the other side.
Yeah.
டேய் இப்போ அடிங்கடா.
It's in his head. It's not actually hearing it.
தண்ணியில மட்டும் தள்ளி விட்டுறாத, நீந்த தெரியாது தம்பி.
நீ ஏதோ பேசுறேன்னு தெரியுது, ஆனா என்ன பேசுறேன்னு தெரியல. எனக்கு அவன் பேசுறது மட்டும் தான் கேக்குது.
So I guess you can't swim.
Ooh, that's a nasty weapon.
Yeah. Dude, just jump over the side. I'll let you get away. Uh-oh, not a good place to be.
என்ன சத்யா என்னாச்சு
கீழே இறங்கி போங்க. சீக்கிரம் கீழே இறங்கி போங்கக்கா.
How many stories is it? And there's so many
10.
buildings.
10.
என்னடா சொல்ற? வேகமா சொல்றதுக்கு டைம் இல்லடா. எல்லா கதையும் தட்டி எவ்வளவு பேரை கூட்டி போக முடியுமா? எல்லாரும் கீழே கூட்டி போங்கடா. சீக்கிரம் கூட்டி போங்கடா.
They don't have an alarm, a fire alarm or something?
Yeah, right. This building is built on twigs, man.
Yeah.
They don't have safety systems like that. Oh, if they block them in, they're just... Oh, that's disgusting. I guess if everyone... I don't know. I don't know what this guy's plan is. I guess it'd be poetic justice if this guy died in the collapse, right?
Yep.
பொட்டி பொடிக்கோட வெளியே வந்திருக்கீங்க. எங்க போறீங்க?
பில்டிங் இடிய போகுதுன்னு சொன்னாங்க.
என்னது?
எங்க எப்படி தங்கறது?
பில்டிங் இடிய போதா? யார் சொன்னா?
நடிக்காத. உனக்கு தெரியாது?
டேய், யாரா நடிக்கிறா? மொத்த மக்களை ராத்திரி கூட பார்க்காம வெளியே கொண்டு வந்து நிப்பாட்டி வச்சிருக்க. பில்டிங் இடிய போது யாரா சொன்னா?
நோ, சொல்ல அதான் கேக்குறாங்கல. யாரா சொன்னா உனக்கு?
He did. The guy he killed.
அந்த குரல் தான் சொல்லுச்சு.
Oh no. Everyone's gonna be like, dude's crazy.
அந்த புள்ளைக்கு தான் புத்தி பதிலிச்சு போச்சு. அவன் சொன்னாலும் பொட்டி பொடிக்க எடுத்துட்டு வெளியே வந்து நிக்கிறீங்களே. இப்போ எங்க போறீங்க நீங்க?
இதுக்கு தான் சொன்னேன், இவன் பேச்ச கேட்காதீங்கன்னு. எல்லாம் போங்க உள்ள.
மேடம், மேடம், சொல்றத கேளுங்க, உள்ள போகாதீங்க.
சொல்றத கேட்காதீங்க. எல்லாம் போங்க உள்ள போகாதீங்க.
மிச்சர் சொல்றத கேட்காதீங்க.
எல்லாம் எத்தனை வாட்டி பண்ணாலும் புத்தி வரும்.
Dude, he tried. If it collapsed now, it's their kind of deal, but he tried.
என்னடா சொல்றான் அவன் குரல்? என்ன அடிக்க சொல்றானா? அடடா. அடடா. என்னைய அடிச்சு போடு. ஒருத்தன் உன்னை நம்ப மாட்டான். உன்னை எல்லாரும் பைத்தியம் தான் சொல்லுவான்.
நீ தங்குவியாடா இந்த வீட்ல?
Yeah.
இந்த பில்டிங்ல பிரச்சனை இல்லல்ல?
Yeah, come stay in it.
For one night. Yeah. For sure. That's the best way. It's like just live and stay there one night.
வீரன் குனிந்து அடியிலிருந்து தப்பினான்.
He didn't duck in the blow. He's like, no, I'm not defensive. I'm offensive now. Like, he's straight up warrior.
எதிரிகள் நெருங்கும் வரை காத்திருந்தான்.
Oh.
This is interesting because he's not listening to the voice anymore. So it's almost like he's taking over his own story.
Yep.
He doesn't need it anymore for the bravery.
வீரன் மாவீரனாய் மாறினான். தன் உயிரையே கொடுத்து மக்களை காப்பாற்றினான். முற்றும்.
Let's hope his instincts can still get him through the fight.
நீ தங்குவியா அந்த வீட்ல?
So this, and I like how he's still getting hit. He has some of these abilities, but he's getting hit because no one's telling him what's coming from behind now.
என்னடா? டேய், கேள்வி கேக்குற எவனும் உங்களை வாழ விட மாட்டான்டா. இவன் உயிரோட இருக்க வரைக்கும் உங்களுக்கு ஆபத்து தான். என்னடா?
அவன் கேக்குறது கரெக்ட் தானே? பில்டிங்ல எந்த பிரச்சனையும் இல்ல நீங்க. அப்ப வந்து தங்க வேண்டியதானே?
டேய், நான் அமைச்சரா?
அமைச்சர்னா மனுஷன் தானே?
The people have spoken. That's when people like him get super scared. It's when he's not in the majority anymore.
எனக்கு தலையெழுத்தா? உங்க கூட சேர்ந்து சாவறதுக்கு.
Having the building falls on him, maybe.
Right on cue.
Oh.
He got smushed. Pancaked.
Come on, move, people. You don't want to be near that building. You don't know which direction it's going.
தன் உயிரையே கொடுத்து மக்களை காப்பாற்றினான்.
How do you leave your little girl when like
That's
you
what
gotta
I'm
leave
wondering,
the
too.
building
Yeah.
because it's collapsing? Everyone's going. Although with the chaos, maybe she thought. Some really impressive set work though, with all the crumbling and things falling apart around him. It's really well done.
Can you step into the next room?
Oof. Man, this guy is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, like the warrior in this story, right? He said, you know, in the very, very beginning, he tied all like the curtains together and made a rope. He saved a lot of people. Oof. Oh, I was hoping there was going to be some like comic book ending where he does like get resurrected by the powers or something, but it's not
still
like that.
Could there? I mean, they didn't really say he was dead.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, okay, you don't. It's not over till it's over. You gotta stay past a bit of the credits.
இதுல என்ன போட்டுருக்குன்னு படிச்சு சொல்றா. तुझे देखा तो ये जाना सनम. ये तो गाना है.
They faked it.
Is it? It's him, right?
Yeah, I guess it has to be him. Yes.
வர்ணிஷ்டியா சத்யா
Oh, he lost his hearing completely.
நல்லா இருக்கு. இதே கண்டினியூ பண்ணலாம்.
Now he can only hear the voice. Maybe.
Oh, that would be interesting. He relies on the voice to narrate his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
It is! Oh, that is so cool!
வீரமே ஜெயம்.
Wow! That is such an interesting detail. He's completely deaf. He can't hear anything. So he's going his whole life by listening to this narrator. It's pretty cool because it's like...
Well, and particularly when it narrates stuff like the eye of his affection, you know, blah, blah, blah. It throws in those sorts of
You would actually, it'd be interesting because you'd kind of know your love story
a
is
little
happening
bit,
around
yeah,
you. It's like, and then...
she coyly looks back at him when he doesn't look.
Yeah, and then
he could grin a little bit.
You know what would have been a really cool detail? So I liked how it ended with the cricket ball and then him catching it. But what if like he was walking off and behind him like a girl, like the girl from the newspaper or something, kind of like whispers to a friend or something like that. Maybe
I'm
we
gonna
heard,
marry him.
yeah, or something like that. And then he goes like this and smiles, like I don't know, like something like that. But this is really good. Like you could go so many places with that. So I really like how this went. Now I know that you had some issues.
Oh
with
man,
parts, so I'm gonna let you-
it wore on me. I guess if I look at it in its entirety, they really proved his character in terms of he was just so rigidly and so tightly constrained to always deferring to bad treatment, allowing bad things to happen, to just adjust and move on, you know.
And
keep your head
apologize
down
to your
and
captors.
apologize. Oh, the apologizing. First of
Yeah.
all, I am one believer that you should not be over apologizing to people, because most of the time people are using that as a power thing. Okay? And when people are having you, particularly when it's not genuine coming from you, you know, it just grates me when I see that. It's a way of putting people further down and keeping them oppressed even more, you know, and so it just bothers me excessively.
They laid it on a little thick.
Yeah.
And also words start losing its meaning.
Exactly.
So when you say a word like a million times, it's like, it just becomes an annoyance, like almost like a chattering bird at that time. And
Sir,
you're like,
please, sir, please. I'm like,
it was a little thick. It was. I'll agree with you there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but it really made, I think, for an awesome flip. Okay, when he actually finally did flip the switch, so to speak, and come back to be the true hero that he is. Okay, and I think that was something. I think if you'd done that, maybe not with so much upfront, it may not have had some of the impact it did. Okay, and even then, he when he did the flip, he suddenly found out his timing was off. Okay. And now he had a whole lot of ground to make up. So I think that was interesting play on it. You know, overall, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I really felt though, I mean, there is no way that I could stand around and allow people to be in that kind of, I mean, it's a catastrophe waiting to happen. And it's like people deserve better than that. And particularly when you do a kind of a bait and switch. I mean, people were very happy where they were. I mean, it wasn't luxury living or anything. And then you give them luxury living, and then yet it's like, you know, it's a bait and switch. It's not great at all. So, you know, so I think the premise of the starting story and how he was, you know, the everyday ordinary man for where did we hear ordinary man before? That played out somewhere before in another movie, and I'm trying to remember where it was. I'm just an ordinary man, just an ordinary man. And that was said multiple times. That became a theme until he had his own hero journey. And I'm trying to remember where it was.
Well, you might be thinking, well, I don't know. I think they were talking about that in Gabbar is Back, because he was.
Yes, I think.
But maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep
so
going.
yeah. So anyhow, I liked that. In a way, I think it again proves one of the themes that we've dealt with before, is that everybody can be a hero in their own way, and particularly when you're a group of ordinary people, you can amass up to the powers that be. And I was surprised that more people weren't willing to join him in, you know, hey, we're pushing back. And yes, he's the hero, and yeah, he's the leader. I think his mom kind of represented that a little bit.
Well, also, I think it speaks volumes to how scared people are, because when you're living in a house made of glass, you don't want to be throwing stones. Right? And so here, the place was basically made of glass.
Yeah.
You don't want to do anything. Like, you wouldn't want to put nail through glass. So everyone was just so scared. They're tiptoeing around it. They're like, we want to let you know we're not happy, but hey, like, we don't want to be too angry because we don't want to live outside. Like, you know. But then when people did start realizing how bad it was, they did start shifting outside and be like, no, I'd rather live outside than that safety trap.
And I think certainly the baby falling, you know, from the ceiling, you know, from where they had worked up the little hammock. I think that should have been a red flag for anybody and everybody. Yeah, that and sewer leaking, water leaking from above. And so anyhow, so give it a rating. There were some places that it drug, and again, part of it drug more for me when it was the constant apologizing, pleading, and all that sort of stuff. So that kind of spoiled it a bit for me. I understand, looking at the entirety, how much of that needed to happen, but I think it was a bit overdone. So I'm gonna give it a 7. And I think the acting was pretty good. The crazy minister certainly got crazy. So I kind of thought that was kind of cool. And I loved the fact that we had our friend, what's his name?
Yogi.
Yogi.
Babu.
Yeah, that came back, and he's this interesting side character that you want to almost hang around with him more just to find out, like
he steals the show.
He
and
does.
Like a lot of the movies that we've seen, he's really stolen a lot of those scenes. I did feel like here though he wasn't as on it.
Yep.
I did enjoy his scenes. I enjoyed him, and as soon as I saw him in this movie, I was like, yes, this instantly made me like this a lot more. But I don't know, maybe the writing wasn't quite there as it usually is with his characters. But I mean, it was fun. He had good line delivery, the lines that he did have, and the situations were interesting.
Yeah.
I'm with you with a lot of things that you said. I did like there was a lot of symbolism here. So like I was talking about like houses made of glass, you can also think of this building as what I said is it's such a shame because it looks so nice from outside and it's almost like politics.
Yes.
Right? Is because from the outside and you're listening, you're just observing and everything seems really nice and really great and all that. But then when you open that door and you walk in and you start finding all of the chaos and dirt and things falling apart and disheveled and all of that sort of stuff.
It's very much like the government and all
and
of
as
darknand falling apart.
And as the story progressed, there were cracks that were starting to appear more and more and more. And that was like in his journey, he started realizing how deep these cracks actually went in the story. So, and then at the very end, when everyone started realizing how bad this politician is, that's when all of the cracks were on the outside and everything just started falling apart. Is because that's when everybody knew. So as those cracks developed was like slowly people started finding out that
what was going on. Really.
This is a 2-hour and like 40-some minute movie. Maybe part of that was they wanted to linger on the fact that he was this cowardly guy in the beginning, but I'm with you, it drug too long. It was making me really frustrated with how long it was taking for him to accept that. And I think there were just so many scenes that you could have cut out and still given that, because we knew that he was kind of cowardly with his job and not standing up for himself and all that sort of stuff. And then we saw it a little bit in the politicians and all that when they first came for him. And
even when it was with the water.
Yeah.
He didn't want to stand up to the water guy, so he went to the train or something.
Yeah, I think you could have cut a lot of that out and you still would have made the point. And then you could have gotten through it a little bit quicker, I think, because it was just really frustrating, because the fun parts of this movie were like started for me when he finally accepted. So up to that point, it was just me on edge of my seat saying like, when are you gonna accept? When are you gonna accept? And then he was always like, oh, I'm scared of dying, but I'm not gonna listen to the voice that's been keeping me alive. And then that didn't really check out to me, so that was like kind of a little weird.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. It was really kind of odd because, particularly when he started, really being beaten on in there.
Dude, the guy was gonna kill him, and he still wasn't listening, and he was just taking the beating.
Yeah,
and
I don't understand why he was wanting to take the beating, because
look, I think it's when people are being beaten down. We hear this even in school. Like if you're being bullied, like if you turn the other cheek, like they'll get tired, their arm will get tired, right? So if you just take the beating, then that's what he was saying, because he did look back and he's like, are you satisfied yet? Have you calmed down? Have you cooled off, I think, right? Because he kept like being like, maybe if I sit here and take it, like, just like a bear. They say like if you come across a bear, don't run, you can try to make yourself big and whatnot, but the thing is you get into the fetal position and eventually, supposedly, I've never encountered a bear, but things that people say is you get in the fetal position and then they get tired because then they don't see you as a
a threat.
and then they'll just eventually get bored because they're like, oh, what am I doing? He's not food, you know.
Meanwhile,
So
you've been half
that
mauled
sort of
to
stuff.
death, you know.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know. Look, but the thing is that was his thing, is he's saying maybe if I sit here and take a beating, he'll be cooled off. Didn't really work because the guy was crazy. He would have killed him if it wasn't for the other guys. So maybe it worked because the other guys were like, oh, okay, he's taking a big beating, time to chill out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that part really, I'm with you. It was kind of, it took too long to get to the juicy part of the story. But there are things about that that I really liked, which is the very first time he was brave. The very first time he was unapologetically brave was not with the voice. It was when the voice wasn't with him and he started realizing everything happening around his life and he went to go steal the documents. And with those documents, that was the first time we saw his actual character changing. And I think that was really awesome that he didn't have that change while he had the voice. Because I think it wouldn't give him as a character as much credit, because it's like, okay, anybody could be brave if they had a voice telling them everything that's going to happen to them. So true bravery was when he did it without any safety net. So I think that was a really cool, no training wheels. So I think that was a really cool detail that they added.
That's great.
And I'm not saying remove that, but I think you could have got there a little earlier. And then he could have, you know, got into a situation where he still needed the voice or something like that. And later on, like in the movie, how it happened, I liked here when he got off the boat and he got back on the boat and then the voice came back. Like that was a really cool scene. Like I love that whole, like that whole sequence was just like so cool. So I was really into that. I'm with you, I'm gonna give it a 7 because it was almost there. I think if they trimmed this up and got to some of those more important parts along the way.
I think if they included a little bit, I mean, they kept trying to make it really comical in his interactions with the voice. And granted, some of it might be me missing out in the translation, but I don't think it was as funny as it could have been in certain situations. I mean, they kind of got there almost a couple of times, and I thought this could get really funny. You know,
it had the potential.
It had the potential, and it could have, you know, twisted it. And it's that, not the comical, like a comedy kind of funny. It's that just funny on a day-to-day kind of basis. You know, where you're doing something in the day and something happens and everyone just kind of giggles about it. That's exactly what I think could have been really, really funny right here. And it just didn't happen. And so I think if they had done that a little bit more, it would have made his struggle a bit with hearing the voice and all of that, I think a little bit more tangible for people to understand. Because granted, if we all started hearing, we all would behave a little weird, going, I'm hearing, you're not talking, you don't hear that? Who's talking, you know? And
that part was okay. I think they relied so much on him being a coward and then just not wanting to listen to the voice. But I'm with you, I think they could have had a really funny thing happen where the voice almost started like fighting back with him. Like, oh, you're not gonna listen to me? Fine. And then you hear like a squish sound and then he's like, what was that? And then he looks down and then the hero realized that he just stepped in a pile of poop or something like that, right?
Exactly.
And then he looks down and he's like, well, you couldn't warn me before I stepped in it?
Exactly.
And then the voice could have said, and then the hero realized how ridiculous he's being by not listening to the voice. You know, something like that. It could have been really funny.
We've seen cartoon character things like that where they've talked about that. So you're not going to listen to me? Okay, fine. You know, and we saw that with the computer, the car. She didn't want to help him.
You really have to get better at this.
I know.
That's Kalki.
Kalki.
So in Kalki, that's Buji.
Buji. I mean, I remember that, but I just can't remember all the names. Sorry. But yeah, again, it's that same sort of thing of where, you know, they don't want to acknowledge that they could use the help and then find out, well, okay.
There could have been, I really like that. There could have been a lot of fun banter back and forth, and it didn't have to be just relying on the fact that he was a coward. I mean, that was the main thing, right? Is even an ordinary man can stand up to people like that, and I like that message, but I think you could still have that message and have those comedy scenes hit a little harder and be more entertaining.
Right.
So 7, I mean, I think that's just to get it up into a higher rating for me personally. I would have enjoyed that more, but this was still a fun movie. I enjoyed it, and you know, I really like the premise. I think that's why I like so much of it, is because it's such a unique story, and it's a fun way to tell a story like this.
Yeah.
And I'm actually more interested of how it could go forward with him being deaf and having this constant narration.
I think it could be an interesting ongoing character.
Like, I wish that we may have had maybe almost a completely different movie where he was already hearing the voices in deaf and we got to know his character without hearing the narration, and we were like, maybe we were kept in the dark in the beginning of the movie, that he kept understanding things happening around him, and we're like, how did he know that was happening? And then we get maybe bits and pieces of his backstory mixed in there as we're going in, and it's telling this tale. Maybe something like that. That could have been very interesting. But anyway, the movie that we watched was still very fun and entertaining. I love the action sequence when he finally accepted the voice, because those were, I think, the juiciest part of the story. But you guys let us know in the comments what you thought. Did you think it dragged in that part? Because I know this guy was getting super irritated. He was over it.
I'm like
if,
let's get past this.
If we were not doing this as like this reaction, I'd kind of think that you'd be skipping.
I'd be
forward.
skipping a little bit forward. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say and what is your rating for this movie. Sivakarthikeyan is always a great actor. This is again a very different role than we've ever seen him in, so it was fun. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us here. And if you like this video, be sure to turn on all notifications so as soon as we drop more videos in the future, you can be notified. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe, share, and upvote the video by slapping the like button.